G'day everybody, Duckville here. We are up to the third and final video from the Starcraft School tournament that featured on Sunday night between these two players here. We got NoJulyNooooo being named as July, and also just going to slow it down for a sec. We do have Deebs down here, the Terran in the bottom left corner. Once again, for those of you playing at home, these VODs are not going to be your standard sort of commentary VODs, just doing a basic commentary of the games. These are actually designed to have a look at some of the various little things in each player's style of play that will need a little bit of working on to hopefully improve and evolve their actual gameplay to get them playing a bit better through the league. So both of the players have been watching some of these VODs, I believe, and they have said it has been helping them. So do make sure you post some comments if you also have some things you'd like to add, or also jump on the forums at scoceania.com. There is a link down below, I believe. So one key thing that we were looking at in the past two VODs were the early sort of supply depot from Deebs, but he did actually get this one on time. So he does have the supply depot finishing, and then he should have time to pump out another SCV. But we're still waiting on the SCV here. It looks like he's going to get a Rax first. A little bit of just a building decision error there. You should, unless you're really scared about some sort of proxy or like a really heavy rush, you really shouldn't get that Rax first. But of course, given that this is actually Steps of War, there is just an incredibly short rush distance here. Sorry, so you know, some of the time, if you're really worried about it, it might not be a bad idea to get the Rax first. But in general, you really want to keep your SCVs training. So he's also grabbing this refinery here as well, and it looks like July is essentially doing the Protoss version of this with the gateway into a simulator. We'll have to see how he progresses from here. He's got to keep an eye on the energy on the Nexus as well. Once again, we've sort of got this issue of the energy building up a little bit. We're almost on 50 energy there, which is 2 chrono boosts. So you might be saving for to get out an early Zealot, but it's not exactly the best strategy to just sit there either waiting for it, unless you're really going to commit to some sort of rush. Now, obviously, the danger of doing some sort of Zealot rush on this map, especially against a Terran, especially in Bronze and Silver League, is that most players of Bronze and Silver level will always wall. So it's your early Zealot, early few Zealots, if you're going to get a few out, really aren't going to do too much damage to the wall. So he is going to chrono this one out. I'm not sure if it's just to get an early unit out to protect, or if it is actually to go and harass, but he does have the cybernetic score here, so he's going to have access to the sentries and the stalkers as well. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. Deebs is doing his, looks as if he's grabbing this factory pretty quickly there, just like he has previously, keeping up on his supply as well. Again, just like last game, he's actually been really delayed on the orbital command. You should really generally get this as soon as your Rax is done, but in this game and the last game, he got it a bit late. There we go, he's finally getting that out there. He is doing a good job, though, of keeping the supply depots going, and so is July, actually. We have a little pylon down here. He might be looking to put, yeah, he is. He's going to put something in the corner here. He's got a Twilight Council in the corner. For those of you guys who do play Protoss in the leagues, make sure you do, if you're going to tech and you want to keep it under wraps, make sure you put something in the corner. Sometimes people will proxy, like sometimes you'll see someone, you know, proxy some, like a Stargate tech up here or over here or something like that, just to keep it hidden from your opponent. Because generally when your opposing Terran is going to scan you, he's going to do this sort of area here, and he's not going to be able to see anything that is in either of the corners down here. So it's a nice little, it's a very impressive strategy to just put the tech down in a corner. If you can, if it's just the fact that you hide it for a brief moment or two until they scan again, or they get some sort of peek in your base somehow, it's really good to keep that little tactic up your sleeve as well. So And we've got Deebs moving towards the same build as last time. It definitely is going to be the same sort of thing, opening up with this one racks, one factory, one starport, and now grabbing a second rack. So looks as if he's going to do pretty much the same sort of thing that he did last time. Now we've got Nexus doing a nice job keeping up with the probes. We've got pretty much both the players doing really nicely with their actual economy side of their macro, keeping their workers pumping out and keeping the income flowing. As we can see from the income tab, they're both sitting at sort of 24 and 25 for July. Nice numbers there, both of them sitting on around about 700, 750 mineral income and about 200 or so gas. So doing a nice job there. Looks as if, however, that Deebs is actually doing a minor adjustment to his standard sort of strategy. Normally he's been getting out a Banshee, but obviously he has gotten a Medivac here. He might be looking to do some sort of drop, or perhaps like a heavier Bioforce to push in with the Medivac, giving them some healing power. And we do have a Dark Shrine. We've got a Dark Shrine here from July. He's once again hiding this off to the side. It's if the Terran player is going to scan, he might not be able to see the Dark Shrine here. So we do have a couple of DTs warping in. The Dark Templar are going to make a meal of any sorts of units that don't have any detection. So hopefully we're gonna. This is another nice strat here from July, doing a little bit of a deviation from normal. Got to keep in mind though, this short rush distance is going to come into effect here, because if he's going to support these units, he's going to really need to bring some more covering units in real quick, because obviously if there are any tanks up here, he's going to have a little bit of trouble. And as you can see, Deebs does have this early tank, a reasonably sized Bioforce as well, consisting of these Marines and Marauders. So this is a little bit of a different strategy from Deebs here. I'm just going to slow it down just to point out a couple of things. He is getting a Banshee here, and he is getting the second tech lab on the second starport. So he could be just getting he's actually got two Medivacs, sorry. So he's going to have a couple of drops to actually use, or obviously just to heal the Bioforces. So we'll have to see how that plays out. The one issue being that these DTs, well, actually just one-shot the Marines when they don't have their upgrades, because as you can see, DT's doing 45 damage straight on a Marine, bam, he is dead. So without the combat shield, the Marines are pretty much easy food for the DTs. Now, as you can see, Deebs is going to do a little drop here. We're going to have to see if this is going to be seen by July, and it looks as if no, there's this one DT hiding behind the tree here, very, very sneaky, but he hasn't actually seen this drop. Now, this is going to be really deadly, because July, of course, has no units back here in his base. He has been doing a nice job of pumping out the units, but all of them have been going to the front door. DT coming up to the front door here, knock knock, he is trying to get in. This supply depot is going to go down. It is now gone. DT is now moving in. He's attempting to hack up some of these Bioforces. Meanwhile, the Medivacs are coming in the back. This is some nice work from Deebs. You really want to see, he doesn't actually have any energy for the scan though. This was part of the problem with needing all these minerals for all of these production facilities, is that he has no way to actually detect these DTs. So what you really want to see in this situation, I'm just going to slow it down because we do have a drop in July's base. I'm just going to point out these DTs. One of the focuses for the DTs when you get in is, when you move the DTs in, you need to see if your opponent has any possible way to detect the DTs. Obviously against the Terran, they will always have the scanner sweep on the command center, so there's really nothing you can do against that unless you have a lot of DTs and you kill the command center first. But in this situation where he's got these DTs coming in unhindered, with no turrets, no ravens, anything like that, you want to make sure that you stop any attempts by your opponent to actually get up any detection. So in this situation here with these DTs, you'd want to see the DTs going for either the tech labs or in fact the starports themselves, to make sure that no ravens can get out. The other thing he'd want to look for is for an SCV running around trying to build an engineering bay. The second part to this attack is this little force here. I'm just a bit perplexed as to why he hasn't sent those units in. Even just attack moving those up the ramp into the base would have done a nice job of actually cleaning up a lot of these units here, given that the DTs are just going to rip through everything. But from what I can see, I believe this drop here by Deebs, which looks like it's going to do a lot of damage because there is no protection at all for these probes and the Nexus, although we do have a DT warping in. So we'll have to see how this progresses. This is obviously going to be a lot of multitasking for both of these players, because July is going to need to focus on defending the mineral line here with the probes and everything, not to mention making sure that he's attacking the adequate sort of buildings that he needs to keep on top of, and also making sure that he uses these forces that are just sitting at the front door doing nothing at the moment. And then of course on Deeb's side, he's got to make sure he either keeps on top of this command center so that he can use the scanner sweep once it's up to detect the DTs and kill them. And he also has to, this little force here doesn't really require any micro as such, but keeping it alive would obviously be a massive bonus, and obviously a hallmark of a lot higher skill level there. If you can keep the forces that you've dropped, if you can actually keep them alive, that's a really big bonus. So let's see how this one plays out. We're going to watch this drop here just at first to see how this goes. And yeah, these are just going to absolutely tear through all of these probes. The Marines doing a lot of damage. DT is coming in though to actually clean up all of these forces, and I believe Deebs is he's not actually going to control any of these. He's just going to let them die. The medevac said, just sitting over there watching. And I believe, yeah, the DTs got spotted. Now this is a really, really critical mistake